Hey there, Al Perhacs, author, creator, visionary behind the Mind Force method of high performance esoteric training. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about self-sabotage. We all have it to some extent or another. And it's something that, depending upon you, it could be minimal or it could be a lot. It could be continual, right? It could be that you've got this dark cloud over your head. It could be that you have dark-sided things that are vampiring your energy because of the concept that you have in your mind of this self-sabotage, right? And so if you have a copy of my book, The Mindset Blueprint, if you have that and you go through it, you're going to see the powerful laws of the mind, the 6 powerful laws of the mind. And you're going to start to understand how your mind interacts and how you're going to be able to really train your mind to do what you want it to do, not what it's going to do. Because the mind is trained by you. And it's either going to be trained by you consciously or it's going to be trained subconsciously. Subconscious being the much more powerful of the two. However, a lot of times people are just on autopilot, and depending upon how they were raised, their parents, their peer group, you'll notice that I had mentioned in one of the earlier emails about the 5 people that you associate most with, is that you're usually the average of those people. You're usually the average of them in terms of money. You're average with them in terms of the type of shape that you're in. You're the average of intelligence, more than likely. And again, you could be the high end of that spectrum or the low end of that spectrum. But it's reality. And if you did that exercise and you took those 5 people and you said, okay, who do I associate with? Who are my buddies, my friends, my relatives, whoever they are? Where do you fall in that pecking order? And where is your health, your emotional stability, your income in regard to those 5 people? Right? Where does it fall in that situation? And this is a level of self-sabotage, in that if you consistently associate with people that are bottom feeders, for lack of a better word, you will be a bottom feeder, right? If you associate yourself with criminals, you'll be a criminal. That's just the way it goes. If you associate with people that have very limited thoughts, that's where your thoughts will be. And there's probably not a very good chance that your thoughts are going to escalate above that unless you make a conscious effort. I can't tell you how many people I speak to on a weekly basis where their number one priority is manifestation. Usually it's money. And usually they're in a situation where they've never had any. And so they don't even understand the entire concept of money. And they'll probably never have money as much as they want it. They can read as many books on law of attraction as they want, but until they switch up their energy, or until they switch and their mind and that spiritual connection that creates the money, they're never going to have any money. And if you're one of those people, then you are one of those people. Here's the thing, is that you've got your conscious mind, which can feed the subconscious, and then you've got this superconscious, which I call that the spiritual mind, right? So you've got you want to call it mind, body, spirit. The body, from this perspective, would be your conscious mind, in the sense that it's a conscious effort, right? Your body is a conscious effort too. You can feel it, you can see it, right? The mind is your subconscious mind, and then the spirit is that super conscious mind that's out there to assist you. You've got to get them all in order. And if you don't, that's where the self-sabotage comes in. Is, oh yes, I'm going to do this, but that's an immediate thought that comes into a lot of people's mind. Oh yes, I would be more successful, but, or I could get that job, but I don't have an education, I don't have the training, whatever, right? There's nothing in this world that you can't achieve given some time. And that includes being a doctor, an attorney, right? And again, time. So it depends where you're at on the time spectrum. If you're 50 years old, it's going to be harder because you don't have as much time. And it might take you 12 years to get through that process. Of course, if you're 25, you have more time. And then the other thing is, how long does that thing take as far as time? In my book, Immersion, I go into detail about specialized knowledge, which is without a doubt one of the most important things that you're ever going to do for your life is specialized knowledge, because it's not the general knowledge that's going to get you to the success that you desire, the manifestation, the attraction, and these types of things. It's going to be specialized knowledge that is focused in a given area where you can get really good at it. I always use the example, and I use the example in the book of when, I got started doing hypnotic influence. I became immersed in it. And within a year, I created my book and courses, Manipulation, the Master Secrets of Covert Persuasion and Hypnotic Influence. And that was created as a result of a desire to learn and become really good at it. And so I immersed myself in the process. Now, what does that have to do with the self-sabotage? Well, I could have listened to myself and others at the time, and the first thought in my mind was, who are you, Al, to teach hypnotic influence, because you didn't go to school for it, you didn't spend 10 years like some people, you're not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, you're not a master hypnotist. But you see, I really was, because I was learning the skills of a hypnotic influence specialist at a faster rate because I was immersing myself into the process. And that's how I did it. So you can take any learning. I did the same thing with martial arts. Within a very good short period of time, I was a very good martial artist because I was willing to immerse myself into that, and I started learning every martial art that I could. I had a criteria on what kind of martial arts I was going to learn. And you'll read that in the book too. And the fact of the matter is, if you want to get good at something, you have to immerse yourself. And so getting back to this self-sabotage, is the immediate thoughts in my mind were, who are you to write a book on this? But then, fortunately, there was somebody, I think it was one of my students, that said, Al, your stuff is better than most things on the market. You should create it. And who cares what anybody thinks? You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a PhD. And I said, you're right. And so that's what I did in my entire professional career. That's exactly what I've done. Sales, marketing, consulting. I never graduated college, so I don't have any degrees. High school degree. But I've learned specialized knowledge in any of those areas that I wanted to learn. So when I wanted to get good at technology, I learned about technology, and I became good at it. Now, I wasn't technologist from the standpoint of the implementation. I had other people to do that. But as far as understanding the concepts, I was there. And so this self-sabotage rears its ugly head because you think you can't do it, right? Or every time you try to lose weight, something happens. And you can use an excuse. Like, for instance, I'm on a dietary program right now, but it just so happened the other day, my wife says, hey, we're going to play hooky today, and we're going to go and spend the day at a lake. We're going to have a nice dinner. We're going to have some ice cream. And that was on a Tuesday. And according to my training, that really wasn't part of the training. But guess what? Life throws you a curveball, you deal with it. The next day I fasted because you had to pay the price. Had I not done that, there would have been some level of self-sabotage. Like, I sabotaged myself by doing that on Tuesday. When I got home on Tuesday, I lifted weights because I did not want, and it probably wasn't the best weight session ever, but I did it. I actually accomplished the mission. And it removed any possibility of self-sabotage, because now mentally I knew I did what I needed to do. Didn't mean that that day might not have taken me a little bit off of my game plan, but I wasn't going to let it affect me. And so what happens a lot of times is the self-sabotage is, okay, I had a cheat day, I didn't work out today, I didn't do this or I didn't do that, so I guess I can't get to the goal. And that's just not true. You have to be persistent and consistent and immerse yourself in the process. There are going to be days that are going to set you back, and that's okay, just the way it is. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you about this self-sabotage, because you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, where am I sabotaging myself? And you know it. You know where you are. I don't have to tell you. You already know, but a lot of times you don't want to face it. Just like a lot of the questions that I asked this week are designed to elicit a response inside of your own mind. And that's the key to these types of questions, is that it does create an energy in your mind where you have to answer it. And usually you answer it honestly because you want to get better. If you don't answer it honestly, then you don't really want to get better. You want to try to continue to fool yourself, which means you'll just never get where you want to go. You'll never get the reward you ever want if you're going to lie to yourself. But in most cases, most people won't lie to themselves. They'll tell the truth. And they'll get the results that they desire. So anyway, I wanted to share that information with you. I hope you got some value out of it. I want you to apply those questions that I asked you in the emails earlier this week, and even the one today on self-sabotage. Where are you sabotaging yourself? And if you're not, that's great. There's some people that don't. You know, when I said in an earlier video, do not avoid. And again, it's another concept in the book. Do not avoid. Do not avoid things, no matter how small or how big. Make your bed in the morning. Make sure that you do what you need to do in order to strengthen your mind. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. So long.